In brief, the summit went according to plan implies the reference is here in the third paragraph in the very first statement. We see that this is a sarcastic statement. The summit went according to plan. This is not meant in a positive light. It speaks negatively of the Earth Summit and the actions of the UNCED. UNCED, which stands for the United Nations Conference on Environment and Development. We find this in particular from the references in the second paragraph. We see it here. For the major players, the Earth Summit was a phenomenal success. The World Bank not only emerged with its development policies intact, but with control of an expanded GEF, the corporate sector, which throughout the UNCED process enjoyed special access to the Secretariat, also got what it wanted. Then again, for many environmental groups too, the summit was a success. Careers have been made, credibility achieved, some even having seats on government delegations, and their concerns are no longer marginalized. They are now recognized as major players themselves. But what it actually does is it basically overlooks, almost deliberately, it is suggested that it is deliberate, the major concerns of environment and development. Unwilling to question the desirability of economic growth, the market economy, or the development process itself, UNCED never had a chance of addressing the real problems of environment and development. Skip to the last statement of this paragraph. By such deliberate evasion of the central issues which economic expansion poses for human societies, UNCED condemned itself to irrelevance even before the first preparatory meeting got underway. So we find that the author doesn't quite see the UNCED and the Earth Summit in a positive light. So this statement that it went according to plan speaks negatively, speaks ill about the UNCED, because it suggests that the plan of UNCED was not to question the key aspects, the key issues of environment and development. Option A says, a laudatory appraisal of the fact that the UN had achieved its primary objective. Now, while this statement suggests that the UN had achieved its primary objective, we've seen the references to this in the third paragraph. A laudatory appraisal of the fact. No, the author doesn't laud the fact. The author is actually panning them. The author is actually mocking them. They did quite the opposite of what they set out to do. So this option is incorrect. A is out. Option B says, a tongue-in-cheek comment on the UN's reluctance to rock the boat by addressing controversial issues. This is absolutely true. We can see this in three aspects. First off, a tongue-in-cheek comment. We've seen how this statement has been made sarcastically. So tongue-in-cheek, it's basically a bit of mockery of the UNCED and the Earth Summit. So tongue-in-cheek is absolutely correct. The UN's reluctance to rock the boat. Again, reluctance to rock the boat, two references, unwilling to question the desirability of economic growth, the market economy, or the development process itself. UNCED never had a chance of addressing the real problems. By such deliberate evasion of the central issues which economic expansion poses for human societies, UNCED condemned itself to irrelevance even before the first preparatory meeting got underway. Then again, by addressing controversial issues, we've seen a direct reference to that. Deliberate evasion of central issues. Then again, never had a chance of addressing the real problems of environment and development. So overall, this option is quite correct. It can be qualified. Option C tells us, an extolling of UN's successful effort at meeting all its targets. Yet again, we can qualify, according to the passage, successful effort at meeting all its targets. We are talking about some of the targets. We're not talking all of its targets. So there is a bit of a generalization here, but technically this is correct. Yet again, the same as option A, we cannot say that this is being extolled. Rather, the author is actually panning it. The praise statement, the statement of praise, the positive statements, the seemingly positive statement is meant sarcastically. So C is also distorted. We can eliminate C. Option D says, a veiled sarcasm this looks good, of the UN's subversive goals to propitiate MNCs and TNCs as they would boost the participants to positions of power. Now, this makes a lot of assumption in the later part. It started off well, a veiled sarcasm. Yes, so this statement is sarcasm. We have noted that. But then, of the UN's subversive goals, a little too strong to say that it was subversive. Rather, they didn't want to change. So it was more resistance to change than subversive. But to do what? To propitiate MNCs and TNCs. MNCs not directly mentioned, but then in TNCs, transnational corporations, we can actually infer that there was a tendency to give preference to, or give a very good treatment to TNCs. We can see that here. Not only treated TNCs with kid gloves, but extolled them as key actors in the battle to save the planet. But that's not the only objective. And that would boost the participants to positions of power. No such reference has been made. We have this as a distortion of this line. For many environmental groups too, the summit was a success. Careers have been made, credibility achieved, some even having seats on government delegations. So it is for environmental groups that this particular aspect has happened. The participants have been boosted to positions of power. They now have, many of them now have seats on government delegations. But would the MNCs and TNCs do that? There's no such direct statement. They might, it is possible. It's not exactly outside the realm of possibility, but no such direct reference has been made. So at best, this is a potential aspect, a potential future possibility. So there is some assumption in this, that which is not necessarily supported by the passage. So D is also out. The correct answer is option B.